Hello to everybody. Welcome to the Creative Hub in Tallinn, Estonia. And we have just finished the first Three Seas Foreign Ministers meeting with representatives from 12 Three Seas countries. And I'm happy we had our partners, Deputy Secretary of State Stephen Biegun from the US, Secretary General of the European External Action Service, Ms. Helga Schmidt, and State Secretary Miguel Berger from Germany also join us. And I hope our meeting today opened the door to the tradition for the annual Three Seas Ministerials. Actually, there was also in last year in Warsaw, arranged by Poland, a very good meeting. And today's active participation demonstrates the growing importance of the initiative. Just a recent IMF study showed that, speaking about the lack of infrastructure investments in the Three Seas region, during the decade they analyzed it's about $1.3 trillion. The Three Seas Summit and Business Forum takes place in October in Tallinn. Since it's one of the main foreign policy events for Estonia this year, I'm happy we had fruitful discussion today on many topical issues of the Three Seas and how to improve with practical deliverables. One of the main topics we discussed today was how to increase the role and engagement of the governments in the initiative. It's also in the competence of the ministers to ensure attractive and lucrative business environment for the potential investors and turn political willingness into practical infrastructure projects, where we are talking about railways, roads, pipelines, digital corridors. And digitalization is something on which Estonia can share its know-how. It's crucial to expand digital components across key infrastructure, the smart connectivity services that the Three Seas initiative can become an investment platform to support green infrastructure and our global goals. As we have part of the European Union, we have to take advantage of the common economic space and complement it with the Three Seas potential. There's also very particular important transatlantic tie in that initiative. And let me stress also the importance of the infrastructure investment security as under the principles of so-called Blue Dot Network principles. So thank you for joining us today, and we are going to pass that press conference together with a founding fathers of that Three Seas initiative, together with my Polish and Romanian colleagues. And now I'm happy to give the floor to the Foreign Minister of Poland, Mr. Jacek Czaputowicz. Please, Jacek.
Thank you, for giving me the floor and for organizing that session. Let me by saying that Poland perceives the Three Seas initiative as a useful format for further integration of EU member states from Central Europe to build connectivity between these countries. It is worth noting that according to the WHO data, the countries of our region have passed through the pandemic relatively unharmed, with the number of infections and fatalities much lower in other parts of the European Union. In our opinion, the Three Seas initiative should develop practical inter-governmental cooperation to supplement already well functioning technical cooperation at presidential level. Poland contributed €100 million to the investment fund. We note with satisfaction that Romania, Estonia, Latvia, and Hungary have joined the fund, and we appreciate American commitment to the fund and encourage other partners to intensify engagement in this initiative, because what is important at this stage of development is institutionalization and practical cooperation, realization of projects with the initiative. It is of particular importance in context of combating negative economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic in our region. We highly value and share this vision of the forthcoming summit in Tallinn in October this year. Let me just finish by saying that in our foreign policy, the Three Seas initiative is a key project, and we'll continue our involvement in the project.
Thank you, Jacek. And I will now ask Mr. Bogdan Aurescu, the Foreign Minister of Romania, to say his remarks. Please, Bogdan.
Well, thank you so much, Urmas, for convening this first meeting of the Three Seas foreign ministers. And I would like to say that our meeting represented an excellent opportunity to reiterate our firm engagement for the development of our economies with the support of the European and American partners. The connectivity gap in our part of Europe is significant when compared to the West, but so is the potential for further economic growth. Given the current global situation, which was prompted by the COVID pandemic, we are all trying to ensure swift economic recovery and provide new opportunities for our economies and our citizens. And I think that to this end, the Three Seas initiative can make a difference. The deliverables of the 2018 Bucharest Summit were meant to facilitate and accelerate the implementation of major connectivity projects in the fields of transport, energy, and digital, as Jacek said, as well as to enhance cooperation with the business community. And more than ever, we need to continue to encourage the governments of the Three Seas initiative to enhance the engagement within the initiative and now have the instruments to implement such projects. Romania remains deeply committed to the initiative, both at the level of the president and at the level of the government. And when we speak about projects, we need to ensure funds for their implementation. We should be able to use various sources, be it governmental, European, from US, from other institutional and private funds. And of course, we will also count on the 3SI investment fund, which is fully operational by now, with the participation as founding members of the Polish Development Bank and the Romanian Exim Bank. And I would also like to welcome the decisions of Estonia, of Hungary, and Latvia to join the fund. And I do hope that the other development banks from the states from the region will be able to take similar decisions soon. And the same goes for the European and international financial institutions and other international financial entities, which are welcome to join the fund while maintaining its strategic objectives. In this context, I reiterate my appreciation for the US announcement to allocate up to $1 billion for the 3SI. I'm also looking forward to the Three Seas Summit and the business forum to be held in Tallinn. It will be a consolidation summit, as Urmas said. And I would like to reassure our Estonian colleagues of our support for a very successful 3SI summit in Estonia. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bogdan. Now we will take some questions from the press, and that will be moderated by our spokesperson. Please, Inga.
Yes, thank you, dear ministers, dear our followers in the internet. We have received quite a few questions, and I would read out the first one. What kind of impact does the COVID crisis have on the Three Seas platform? And I would kindly ask Polish Foreign Minister to answer that question first.
As I already mentioned in my short introduction, we are affected by the COVID as other countries, but not so deep as some other countries. But definitely we will face challenges for our economy. And as far as the cooperation concerning the Three Seas initiative, meaning the region, I think that there is a chance to make more, so to say, concrete. I think that one of the results of the pandemic will that we will look generally all countries to our closer neighbors as far as economic cooperation or the development of tourists. So it's easier to cooperate short distances. People will be more reluctant to go farther to Asia, to Latin America, to Africa, to conduct business or as tourists. It shows that it is a chance to cooperate with the region. Regional cooperation will be more important. Therefore, it is also a need to improve infrastructure, interconnectivity, roads, railways. I think that generally the pandemic will prove that regional development of regional cooperation will become more important in our domestic and international policies as far as the countries of the region are concerned.
Thank you very much. And I would now like to give floor to next guest, please, and then to Mr. Urmas Reinsalu. Bogdan, please.
Will you also make your response?
I would say that, well, as I mentioned already during our meeting, one of the main purposes of our initiative is to ensure economic development of the participating states, of the economies of the participating states. While the states in the 3SI region are fast-growing states, at the same time, it's clear that we have a development gap between us and the other countries from the rest of the European Union. And we have to work together, and this is why the initiative was created, in order to reduce this gap. The Three Seas initiative in itself is a tool with the instruments it has already developed, including the fund, including the list of priority projects, to reach this objective. Now, the pandemic did not, of course, improve the situation, but to the contrary, the development gap and the impact upon our economies is higher than before the crisis. That is why, all the more, the Three Seas initiative and the tools that we have already created within the initiative may be very useful in order to cope with the effects of the pandemic, especially when we speak about interconnection, and we are focusing on the north-south interconnection. I think, if we are able to progress with our priority interconnection projects, especially the infrastructure ones, but also energy and digital fields, I think we will be able to bring a very concrete contribution to the development of our countries and also to the swift recovery from the crisis. This is in a nutshell the philosophy of the initiative, but also the current context. And I think we should put this initiative at its best use in order to cope with the effects of the pandemic as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your answer. And now, Mr. Urmas Reinsalu, please.
Well, from a very practical viewpoint, Estonia as a presidency of Three Seas initiative, now we had to postpone the summit from June actually to October. But we have been able to indeed to improve with the help of all participating countries with the preparational work to get practical deliverables from that initiative, which is still in a very, very beginning phase of launching. And what's important, actually, we have got now to the full capability of operations is the Three Seas Investment Fund. And I encourage today also those countries who are still considering to take a full part in that fund. And what is important, I fully join with my colleagues that actually Corona crisis showed literally to us how important it is to have a connectivity. And this is actually one of the core issues. And the second issue is indeed of security, also the security of infrastructure investments. And the third element is indeed that regional cooperation is very important also to overcome the economic recession we are facing. And this is something where a very useful tool could be also Three Seas initiative. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. The second question is there a possibility for a substantial United States and European Union financial contribution to the Three Seas Investment Fund? I would pass this question on to Urmas Reinsalu.
Yes, surely. As we remember, before the Corona started, indeed in Munich, as Jacek remembered, where Foreign Secretary Pompeo gave a pledge to invest up to the $1 billion to the Three Seas Investment Fund. We are now improving also with regional participation, and it's very important also to get private investors. So the optimum we are discussing now, we could like in near future to reach is at least 3 to 5 billion euros in that sense. And I think also it's very important to get on board also European, pan-European development investment organizations as European Development Reconstruction Bank, European Investment Bank, I would very much welcome that also. So we need to get a certain momentum of added value, to get more resources to put on investments, because indeed there is a grand deficit in our region because of history, because of reality we faced during the 20th century. Now we have to do something with that regional cooperation tool. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And for additional comments for that question, please, I would give floor first to the Polish Foreign Minister and then Romanian Foreign Minister.
Thank you. I share the opinion that the contribution from our partners like United States is very welcomed, also European Union. I think that there is an opportunity to get financial resources to make that fund operational and attractive. It was an important symbol for companies that the United States is interested in the region. I think it is in the interest of the United States to be present here in terms of investments, guaranteeing energy security to the region, exporting liquid gas, which is important for our energy security and diversification of energy resources, and also for independence, so to say, for feeding of safety and energy security. So there is an interest, and it is in strategic interest of the European Union, NATO, that we are independent. I listened with interest the presentation during our session of Germany. It's also the country of Central Europe, but the infrastructure of Germany and interconnectivity with its neighbors like Austria, the Czech Republic, or Poland, it's much better developed than the infrastructure between, say, Poland and Slovakia or Czech Republic or Hungary. So there is a need to upgrade the level of development of infrastructure in Central and Eastern Europe to the average of the European Union. I think that also from the European Union's perspective, it is important to make the competition equal, have the same, so to say, rules, but also the same possibility of maintaining relations between businesses and also societies of our countries. So yes, European Union's contribution, investment would be very important for us, and we count on that.
Thank you very much. And now floor to the Romanian Foreign Minister, please.
Yes, thank you so much. It's a very good question, and I very much concur with what both Urmas and Jacek said. I think it's extremely important to have these three sources of funding being used in a very balanced and wise manner. I'm speaking about our own funds, because we also need priorities in order to use better our own national funds. We need, we can continue to need EU funds, and that's why we have such a complex but also interesting discussion within the EU about the next multi-annual financial framework. And of course, we also need the US money, and that's why we have Romania welcomed very much the announcement of the United States in Munich in February about committing $1 billion for projects within the 3SI area. And I think that this commitment is also important because this complements the security presence of the United States in the region. And put together the economic and the security presence of the United States, this shows the commitment of the United States not only to the security of Europe, but also to the economic development of Europe as well. And I welcome the remarks of Mr. Bigan. He said that basically the cohesion of the European Union and the convergence within the EU is an important objective that the United States is supporting also through the Three Seas initiative. I would also like to make a point regarding projects, a point which I made also during my intervention during the conference, how to fund projects through the Investment Fund initiative. Of course, the focus of the fund and the approach of the fund is based on a commercial basis. So those projects which are bringing profit to the investors should be, of course, selected. But at the same time, we should not lose attention to from the fact that these projects are backed by our political leaders. They were endorsed at the level of the presidents during the Bucharest summit. So they are projects with strategic importance, ensuring north-south interconnection that we badly need. And I would only mention one project which Romania fully supports, which is the rail-to-sea project of the Constanța-Gdansk railway, a project which is also supported by Poland, which is important not only for the let's say civilian infrastructure, but also for military mobility. Some of these projects might not look at first sight as commercially viable, but they are strategically important, and we need to have them in order for the objectives of our initiative to be reached. So, thank you so much. This is my contribution to this answer.
Thank you very much. And we have one last question for all of the ministers. And the question is as follows. Do you want to see Ukraine as part of the initiative? Why is it too early to talk about Ukraine's membership in the initiative? And I would first give opportunity to reply to that question to Polish Foreign Minister, please.
Thank you. It's an important question. So the rules of the Three Seas initiative is that we are only EU member states. Of course, it is a formal obstacle. For example, the countries from the region, like Western Balkan countries, which fit to the format of the initiative, they are by the Adriatic Sea, but they are not members. They do not have status of member states because they do not belong to the European Union. It was created in that way in order to underline that we, all members, this initiative is somehow within the European Union, not a kind of a competition to the European Union. Therefore, from the formal point of view, Ukraine is not entitled to be members. But on the other side, it is a very important country. We should support development, political development, reforms and independence of Ukraine. Therefore, for this country, the Three Seas initiative would be a very interesting foreign policy option. I would rather think about partner countries, like other countries, which are not member states, with some rights, with the possibility to develop relations, and particularly interconnectivity between Ukraine and its neighbors being in this initiative, like Poland, Slovakia, Hungary, Romania. And I think that it would be good to invite Ukraine and to discuss with this country. I discussed with the minister about that. So this is this formal side, but of course we support, as far as our foreign policy is concerned, Eastern Partnership and relations with Ukraine. Its independence, it's in our interest. There are many, more than 1 million Ukrainians living in Poland. So we would like to continue this support, and indeed it is one of options. The Three Seas initiative could give, so to say, political support to demonstrate to Ukrainian citizens that they are within this broader group of Central European countries. But most importantly, it could also create some projects which will connect Ukraine to the European Union through countries of the Three Seas initiative. Because from the Ukrainian perspectives, all Three Seas member states are EU member states, and indeed we somehow represent the European Union, and we are on the way from Ukraine to the center of the European Union. So yes, we have to come up with some ideas, maybe invite representatives of Ukraine, create a status. We already have the status of partners, like Germany. I think it's not a bad status, and it is not something less important for Ukraine to be at the same level and with the same position which have Germany, European Union, and United States. I think it would be a good solution. But we have to discuss it within the Three Seas initiative. I just present my ideas and our ideas, which should be accepted and further discussed within the group.
Thank you very much. And now Romanian Foreign Minister, please.
Yes, thank you. I think it's a very good question because we know how interested the countries in the region are with the 3SI, and I think this level of interest shows that our initiative is growing in importance, is growing in weight, and I think I agree with Jacek that for the time being we have a procedural problem, that the initiative is open for full participation only for EU member states. We, of course, to become an EU member state, and EU member state, and have supported, and we support the European aspirations of Ukraine. Romania was the first country in the EU to ratify its association agreement with the European Union, and we continue to support Ukraine's efforts towards becoming an EU member state. But there are also practical solutions in order to ensure participation not only of Ukraine but also of other countries in Eastern neighborhood and in the Western Balkans to the works of the Three Seas initiative. For instance, during the Bucharest summit, we had the same discussion and the same dilemma, how to proceed. And one way out, because at that moment the initiative was yet to be developed and to get more to develop its instruments, its tools, its achievements. We decided to invite government officials at the level of ministers from ministries of economy, transport, digital, so areas which are of interest for the Three Seas initiative, to the works of the business forum, where during the business forum we have organized governmental sessions, and we have organized also government to business to government meetings. And this way, the participation of these countries from Western Balkans, from Republic of Moldova, from Ukraine, from Georgia, and also from Turkey, were able to attend the works of the Three Seas initiative, not at the level of the summit, but at the level of the business ministers. And this practice, in our view, should and could continue. We can also develop joint projects with these countries, as Jacek said. When we have discussed first how to include lists of priority projects on the priority list approved in Bucharest by the presidents, we also have taken into account the possibility for developing projects involving not only participating states, but also participating states and states from the region which are not participating states or not yet participating states. So this possibility of including on our priority list projects involving partners in the region like Ukraine and others, well, this could be a good solution, a practical solution, involving in practical terms in what, well, these countries are interested in, that is connection with this region and the development of their economies with the Three Seas initiative.
Thank you so much. And now Estonian viewpoint to Ukrainian participation, please. Yes, truly. Estonia is a devoted proponent of Ukrainian road to full accession of becoming a member of European Union on the objective criteria basis. And I fully agree with remarks of Jacek that we could improve also the very particular and special partnership with Ukraine, with a certain particular partnership role in that initiative also. There's an issue, I think, which is going to be dealt also in Tallinn. As Bogdan mentioned, yes, we are about the Romanian Business Summit. Yes, we are going to also to invite high-level representatives of Ukraine to take part in Tallinn Business Summit. What is very important indeed, from our viewpoint, our philosophy, that it is it should be an open doors and initiative. When we are speaking about the lack or deficit of cross-border infrastructure in the corridor of north-south. So from Estonian viewpoint, we'd like very much to see also as creating a special partnership with Sweden, with Finland in that sense also, as European Union goes up to the Northern Europe, these countries. But for Estonia, I think speaking about the particular projects of cross-border connectivity, I think for us are very important indeed highways, Via Baltica to Europe. The goods could move, particularly the good railroad connectivity to Europe, Rail Baltica, but also I think very important, particularly for energy security perspective, is to have a good facilities of LNG. We'd like to see also in Estonia LNG terminal to be built.
Thank you so much. And this is the end of the press conference. Thank you very much for everybody. Thank you for our guests and thank you for our followers. Goodbye.